Kristie Lu Stout in Hong Kong, and welcome to Newsstream. Barbaric to the core. That is how Human Rights Watch describes Brunei's strict new Islamic laws. They call for draconian punishments, including limb amputation for theft and death by stoning for gay sex. Now, the nation of 450,000 people is ruled by Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah, who also serves as prime minister. And stomachs around the world churn as the Sultan, who has been on the throne for over 50 years, insists that his country is, quote, fair and happy.
Touching on the attainment of blessings from Allah, I want to see Islamic teachings in this country grow stronger and more visible in the country. The system preserves and guarantees the rights of all the people regardless of their race and faith.
Members of the LGBTQ community inside Brunei, they might take issue with that. They have long lived in fear, especially since 2014, when the first phase of Sharia law was enacted. If you're a woman convicted of sex with another woman, it is punishable by 100 lashes. If you're a man convicted of sex with another man, or if you're having heterosexual sex outside of marriage, you could face the death penalty. Reaction has been swift and damning. The United Nations labels the new laws as cruel and inhumane. The U.S. State Department says they run counter to Brunei's international human rights obligations. And celebrities, led by the Oscar-winning actor George Clooney, are calling for boycotts of Brunei-owned hotels. He asks in an op-ed, are we really going to help fund the murder of innocent citizens? Well, the person you're about to meet is from Brunei, but he was forced to flee because he criticized the government on social media. Since he's been in exile, he's been able to come out as gay, and he has been witnessing these changes in his home country from afar. Shahiran Shahrani joins me now from Canada. And sir, thank you for joining me. And what are you feeling right now as you watch from afar these draconian laws as they go into effect in your home country, Brunei?
Hi, Kristie. Hello. It's very difficult for me to process it, even after several days of talking to the media and stuff, and then people keep asking me the same thing. I still can't really fathom the idea of my country installing such horrific punishment for people just like me, and for the simple reason that we are just being who we are.
And Sharon, you were forced to flee Brunei in October after making a critical post about the government on Facebook, and only in exile were you able to finally come out as gay. Was this something that you really had to hide in fear while you were living inside Brunei?
Yes, it was. Even before these laws came out, it was still illegal to be gay in Brunei, and I've never heard of anybody in Brunei actually coming out and saying, hey, look at me, I'm gay. It was something that I always felt that I needed to hide. My mom would tell me, I remember my mom she saw somebody who was trans on the streets, and then she turned to me and said, if you ever are pundan, I will disown you, And then I was only 16. And then at the time, I looked at her and going, why would you say that? Because I've always been straight acting as well. I don't think I gave any signs of being gay, but I think maybe she knows on some level that I was. And then she was afraid that I would show it. And then, that was just something that I've always had to live with. I always was thought to be afraid that people would find out.
This is something that you had to hide from your own family, from people when you were living in Brunei. But did you ever expect that it would come to this, that adultery and gay sex could get you stoned to death in Brunei?
Just when you say that, I just chills right down my spine, No, I never expected that to ever happen. We were told to expect that something like this would always come about from religious school. We were taught that Sharia law was going to be the law of the land, that this was going to be what we were going to install in the country. But ever since 2014, even though the king announced that he was going to put in Sharia law, it's not that I never took him seriously. I never took, I could never imagine it in the country. And then it just took so long for phase 1 to be put in. the law that I criticized about halal certification, that came in phase 1. And that took extremely long to put in. Like, and then phase 2 and 3, suddenly they just brushed it. They just said, we were going to install these 2 concurrently. And it was such a surprise.
These phases have come through, and now we have this scary reality inside Brunei. The LGBTQ community who are still inside the country, you must be thinking about them. What is your message to them?
So many of them are my friends, and some of them are actually members of my family. I think about them every day, and my message to them is, you need to really think about your safety. I know that most people there can't fathom the fact that they will be under this law. They are under this law, and they might be charged under it. Most of them will go, look, it takes 4 witnesses before they can be charged to be stoned to death. And I'm saying to them, no, yes, that may be true, but it doesn't take that many witnesses for you to be thrown in jail. It doesn't take that many witnesses for you to be accused of gay sex and a fine being installed on you, or you being whipped, or all 3 at once. So I say to them, try to stay safe as long as you can, and try to get out, like I did.
Yeah. And because of what you described, I mean, there has been, as you know, global outrage about these new laws. What do you make of the international protests and the calls for boycotts? Do you think that they can make a difference?
Especially the boycotts at first I thought, no, this can't make a difference, right?
Yeah.
Because those hotels are vanity projects by the royals and the Brunei Investment Agency. They're just spare money, spare change for them. But then I realized there's a friend of mine who went, oh, your country is being boycotted. Oh, George Clooney is doing it. And I realized, like, you know, what it does is focuses national attention onto the country. Without George Clooney, Elton John and the like, and Ellen DeGeneres, without these people like bringing attention to the country, there won't be such a focus. So I have to thank people like them. I have to say thank you very much for helping focus the world upon Brunei, because it's very important for Bruneians and even the royals to keep face. That concept of keeping face is very important to the country. And by forcing people to look at it through the boycotts, it's harder and harder for Brunei to keep face in the face of that.
Well, Shahiran, we must thank you. We must thank you for bravely speaking out and for sharing your story to the world and for sharing your message to members of the LGBTQ community still inside the country. A lot of concerns, deep concerns about them. Thank you so much, and take care.